Welcome to Ran Behind the Practice. I'm Sophie Campisi. I'm a holistic business strategist, and I spend a lot of my time in conversation with practitioners, coaches, and healers about the behind the scenes of their businesses. What I started noticing is that some of the most honest, important conversations about building a practice were happening quietly, one-on-one, behind the scenes, and often in isolation. Most practitioners are incredibly skilled at the work that they do with their clients, but very few of us were ever taught or trained in how to build a successful startup business. And suddenly, we're left trying to figure it out on our own. This podcast exists to bring those conversations forward. The dreams, the uncertainty, the highs and the lows, the recalibrations, and the messy middle. My hope is that by normalizing these conversations, we can soften the stigma, feel less alone, and start closing the gaps together. Today's guest is Arlana Tanner. Arlana has been a health and wellness practitioner for over 20 years. She built a brick-and-mortar wellness center and watched it fall apart and is now rebuilding a more aligned, expanded vision of well-being for people, pets, and the planet. Arlana, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for showing up and having this conversation with me.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I'm really excited to have this conversation. I think it's well needed.
Absolutely. Before we look behind the scenes today, can you share a little bit about the work that you do?
Would love to. I have been a wellness practitioner. You know how that goes, studying and learning new modalities and trying out all these great things for probably over 30 years. And a lot of it started when, I still had kids at home. So it was more of just a enhancement to my life. It was not something I thought about doing as a full-time career. And even when I did start practicing, I found that, I had other jobs and other hobbies and stuff as well. And it tends to just kind of grow as you feed it and as you feel your way into, the direction that you need to take. So in these last few years, I have really found that it's important to connect with other wellness practitioners. And if it hadn't have been for the strong wellness community I was in when I started, I wouldn't have gone as far or learned as much as I did. I had a wonderful circle of friends and mentors that kept introducing me to new things. It was, when the time is right, these things, they come to you. And so about 10 years ago, I was at a business meeting and I had someone ask me, Arlana, so you've been working in wellness for so long. What is your dream? If you could do anything right now with it, what would you do? And I, out of nowhere, I hadn't even pre-thought of it. I said, I see so much struggle between wellness practitioners right now. I see people who have been studying and they've got kids at home, and so they don't have a professional venue to work from. They don't have the support that they need to learn the business side of wellness. I would create a wellness center. And in that wellness center, there would be practitioner rooms and a yoga practice room, and there would be an art venue, and then we would have outside speakers coming in, and all of this stuff just started to come out of my mouth, and I didn't even know where it was coming from. After that, I had several people come up to me and say, Arlana, I want to be a part of this. And so after about 2 weeks, I had 12 people who wanted to come into the business with me. And within, 2 months, we were up and running in a wellness center. Totally came out of the blue. And I loved it. I loved being the collaborator, the host, and helping people to learn their business, to have a professional venue to bring clients, which was also giving them the credibility they were looking for. Because a lot of practitioners don't have that. They don't, for wellness, the wellness industry, to build credibility is one of the things that I think we really struggle with. And so it was amazing. We had people from all over the country come to, and give talks. I had a book signing. We had psychics and sound baths, and it was an amazing venue. But after a year, we lost our lease. And I worked with all of the practitioners who were part of my center, and I like, where do we go from here? I had decided during the whole creation of this that it would be cool to have an online portal where I could promote the wellness practitioners that were in our wellness center. So when the wellness center closed, I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense to me now. How am I going to make this work? But little did I know, I had unknowingly entered a contest online, and I got an email saying, Arlana, you have won a lifetime subscription to this directory platform, and it's yours. It was like $5,000 value. And I'm like, what is going on? So here I've lost my wellness center. I still have a circle of wellness practitioners around me, but I didn't know what to do with it. So we started small and I added them in. And over the last 10 years, I have dabbled with the directory, because I really didn't have a vision for it. I just knew that it was something that was needed and I could support people. And of course, the transition time was amazing because we went through a time where people weren't having face to face interactions anymore. So it was like I was able to morph and transition, expand into this new way of promoting wellness practitioners, helping them build visibility and credibility. So then we get to where I'm at right now, where I have a bold new vision of where I want to take all of this business knowledge that I've gained, all of this wellness business and the support that I feel I can offer to wellness practitioners in face-to-face interactions with their clients, in the behind the scenes, in the digital exposure that a lot of wellness practitioners are not really that experienced at. This is one thing that's also a challenge for a lot of wellness practitioners is the digital age. and and what's the other thing? We're also very self-conscious. We don't want to promote ourselves. So through the directory and through what I've been growing, this is all something that is evolving into a very supportive and interactive way for us to really come together and to grow into something much bigger.
So, are those the two main components of the work that you're doing right now? The directory and kind of managing the directory. And then also now you're doing one on one client work again, but just in a different way.
Yeah, so on this journey of deciding that I want to expand the directory concept, I have always been, like I said, kind of working on the side with my holistic energies. And I've also been worked with animals all my life. And a year ago, I wrote a book called Moving Beyond Words, Our Shared Journey. And it is about that innate connection that we have with the animal companions who come into our lives, how important it is for us to acknowledge that beautiful, deep connection we have with them. So it explores the physical, emotional, energetic, and intuitive connection that we have with them and how we can learn to support them as they support us on our shared journey.
So, is that your focus do you work with practitioners and entrepreneurs using the healing modality, or you do two like subsets of work?
Well, I've done a lot of work with like Ayurvedic energies and also with the five elements. And those kind of form the basis of how I work with people because I like that it allows us to look at ourselves in a different way and the people around us. That was a big aha for me in my life. It was about 2006. I took a course and I said, "Oh my gosh." I stopped seeing other people as somebody as people who should like things because I like them, and I started seeing them for the fact that they are who they are. So it was a huge aha moment for me when I understood that we all have different innate elemental tendencies. And then the expression that animals also have that, and we should be honoring that in them as well. Wow, that is just was an amazing aha for me.
When you look ahead to the next 6 to 12 months, what goals do you have for your work and for your business?
So in my personal side of things, working with animals and people, I really want to become more of a speaker and an advocate for animals and for people. I mean, a lot of people who are frustrated with with the animal's behavior or just with the relationship isn't everything they want it to be. And I can help them create the happier, healthier, more harmonious home that they really want to have and deserve to have with their animal companion. And on the We Wellness directory side of things, I have this new vision of expanding. So yes, we had the wellness center, which was very collaborative, but it was also very regional focused. There was no expansion really from beyond that. And then moving into the directory, well, we became so much more Zoom and closed. And I think, in order for us to feel more successful and to have the support we need and to really expand our knowledge and our purpose, we need to be talking about what we do more often. We need to be sharing and collaborating with other people. And I think we need to be more face to face, more regional focused. So the directory is now going to become the bones or the support system. And we're going to move into more of a network format so that I can open regional chapters wherever someone wants to lead a face to face group. And we can give each other that kind of support that we need for business development. And I talk a lot about the value of testimonials and reviews. And I'll tell you, face to face testimonial will take you so much farther in bringing people into your business than just you talking about it yourself or even just doing it online. We're so inundated with information online. We're so inundated with Facebook requests and do this and do that. Once we get into a more intimate space where we can share, our struggles and we can share what we do and people can make a true and honest face-to-face recommendation, it's going to change everything. It's going to really increase connection and it's going to just help people to expand their business in a much more heart-based and intimate level.
What action do you feel like it's going to take for you to reach these next goals that you have?
I really feel called to do more speaking. I think as we talked, expression and letting other people know that they're not going through this whole process alone and they don't have to go through it alone. So the more that we get out there and we talk about this and we say, you have the support if you want it, reach out. Let us know what you're going through because that's where we can help you. We've been doing this a long time. So I think a lot of the challenges that we first had are maybe not the same ones we're facing now. But that doesn't mean there aren't other people coming up in this business that need that. They're still struggling and they don't know who to talk to. We're so inundated with all the fake news and the AI and all this other stuff. Are we sure online that we're getting true representation and true connection, right? So, I want to become to increase my own credibility, I suppose, so that I can help increase the credibility of the people that I'm supporting and of the industry on its whole. So I think doing more speaking like this and being able to talk about it so that people know that this is a possibility is really the next step. And I think everything will just fall into place from there.
What feels hardest about putting that into motion?
I think it's finding the right venues, the right places to speak, because it is a pretty tight niche, and making sure that you're connecting with the people who really could benefit the most from it. Also, I'll tell you my other thing is I do a lot of research on stuff before I move forward, so I can get myself in a rut where I don't move forward because I better look up that, I better find that. So I mean, I do that to myself. I know that about myself. So the development of this has been a long time coming. I mean, I thought about it 10 years ago, but here I am just now really putting it into place. Why? Because I'm still designing the manager manual. I'm still trying to decide how it's going to integrate with the directory. This is all stuff that you almost have to work it through put it out into the public space and try it out and then modify. I have all of these ideas. It's about finding the balance, finding what works, finding what isn't working as well, trying it out before I move forward into anything deeper. Because it can be a real trap to either get caught in the development stage and not ever take that step, or to move forward too fast and put all your eggs in one basket and not have any idea what's going to happen. Now, I have to say, I kind of did that with the Wellness Center, and I really had no business background. All I had was a want, a desire to make this. And had I been more versed in business, things would have went a lot smoother. I'm not taking away from what happened or from what I experienced, because it was beautiful and it brought me here, but I can sure look back at it and say, what I learned from that experience, I would have done things differently.
For this next phase, when you're talking about the things, that you can get stuck, but putting these things into action, are you pulling from a specific strategy or a specific action plan? What things are you using, if anything, to guide that movement?
A lot of my personal experience. I have done a lot of leading groups in the past. I've done women's business work. I've taught lots of workshops, both online and in person. I've run retreats. So I have experience in, you know, um, sharing information and bringing people together into community. And it just seems like a perfect pairing to me, is to have the stability and the strength of online and the directory, and then allow these chapters to grow as they need to grow and to support the team as they need them. So I feel quite comfortable being in the position of kind of orchestrating this kind of expansion and then helping people to understand their part in it. So this is something that I've done many times before in different ways with different businesses. It is really a culmination of the things I've done and the experiences I've had, the businesses that I've helped with. And I do have a strong wellness circle here too, who are very supportive, that I've learned a lot from as well. And they're also helping me, contributing to this process as I move through it, because I have a good sounding board. Of course, sometimes family's not the best sounding board. They can either be too harsh or too forgiving. So you need people you can trust to just kind of lay it on the line and who are familiar with what you're going through. Talking to people who haven't been in the wellness industry are maybe not your strongest guides, right? So you find your way. You just be open to exploring. And I have to say, one of the most interesting things is doing these talks online in groups as well, and speaking some of this out loud. Because when it's in your head, it's one thing. But when you actually say it out loud, it becomes more real and it feels more real. And so I've fine-tuned a lot of my mission statement and my goals by actually having conversations with other people, because I can't just base it on my own experiences. I need to have the input and the guidance from other people who either might be perfect to join or to help lead this whole process.
Something that you mentioned, I really want to highlight about not all advice is created equal. I think that's something that is so important to understand when you are building something. Not everyone, if someone hasn't done what you've done, what you're doing, or they haven't done it successfully, when we ask people that don't have the expertise or the knowledge or the experience with what we're focused on, we can run the risk of getting too much feedback or too much input. And people will be like, oh, try this. Oh, try this. What about this? What about this? And it can be confusing. So I think that when you share about that, one of the things that is very apparent to me and comes through is your strength in your clarity through time from learning, and your wisdom that you've gained through time. And that's one of those things that, maybe it does take time.
I'm finding it very important for me. I've always gotten several notebooks on the go, all color coded, and I have to keep switching back and forth as I'm working on things. But, finding a good program online that you can use that'll help you to create a timeline and can easily add to it or change it. Or once you put it on paper or it's a visual, at least for me, I'm a very visual learner and visual creator. To see it on paper or on the screen and it starts to make more sense because I've got right now, like if I took all those notebooks and I just put them in a pile, I no longer see the timeline. I no longer have a visual plan. So for me, I need that. I need that kind of structure because I have so many things on the go and so many ideas that I want to try and implement. I can see visually, is this going to fit here or should it be down here? So for me, that is very, very important. Keeps me on track, or I would be off doing that down that rabbit hole over here.
Yeah, I mean, you found your system and you find what works. And I think that's something that is absolutely often overlooked for people like us, AKA healers, practitioners, coaches, who that's our background. That's what gets us into the work. And then all of a sudden, we talked about this earlier, inherent in starting to offer our services, we become business owners, we become entrepreneurs, we become startup founders. And if we don't have the ability to first and foremost acknowledge that, and then second, adapt and gain the skills that we need to support that side as well, the business side, the side that does need some structure and some focus to keep things going, we can flounder. And it's happening to so many people, not because they're wrong or bad. It's just these two vastly different skill sets that often come from the different sides of the brain as well.
Yeah.
Takes some competency to learn how to find harmony and fluidity between both of those sides of us. But we all are carrying both sides. If we are offering our services, we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we are startup founders, and we need to, those skill sets don't cross over necessarily. Our skill and our competency with the work that we do doesn't translate to our business skill if we were never taught it, but it is our responsibility to do what we need to do to shore up on those business skills so that it can be to par with the brilliance that we are with the work that we do so that we can actually bring it out into the world.
And I think a lot of practitioners get kind of stuck in, oh, I'm just doing this because I love to do it and I want to serve the world. And, there's no, they don't have the confidence, I don't think, to really push themselves forward and to think about it as a business. And people have every right to do that. I mean, you step into it where you want to be. But, if you want to take it farther, if you want to make a bigger impact, then these are things you need to consider. And you should know that there are people out there that are willing to step up and help you to do that, who've been where you don't have to struggle on your own and try and figure it all out on your own. We are the loving healers. We are the ones who want to give, and it's okay to receive. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to do for us. And it'd be surprising when you let go of that expectation that I got to do this myself in my own way, and you accept the help that's out there and offered to you. It really does shift your business and your whole concept of self-love, right? Like, it's okay.
We won't make it through if we all choose to build in isolation and do it on our own. And that's a big part of, at least from what I understand about the networks that you are building with the directory that you are doing. It's like we are all, yes, we might all be solopreneurs, but we need to be able to come together.
Oh, we're so much stronger together. Whether we're building credibility or visibility or community. A strong community it will do more than just support the practitioners that are in the community. It provides this entity of energy and healing that becomes bigger than one person. And that's what is going to draw more people into the community and make it stronger. And I think credibility for the wellness community is probably one of the weakest spots that we could really work together to improve.
I agree. And I think part of that comes from it being an unregulated space and unregulated spaces. So it's not as clear and simple for us, especially for our clients and our hopeful clients, the people we're here to serve and help. It's not as clear for them the same way it is for a regulated space, like finding a specific type of doctor or finding a therapist. These are board certified industries, professions that streamline and have that credibility. Now, it's not to say that just because someone goes through it that they're great at what they do. Someone's brought that up before. It's not to say just because someone is licensed therapist means that they're a great therapist, of course. But that piece of what you're saying is we as an industry are struggling and lacking with the ability to put that puzzle piece of credibility into place in a way that translates to the people that we most want to help, in a way that builds trust and bridges that gap and helps them find us and helps them trust us and engage with us and use the tools and the work that we've dedicated our lives to sharpening for them. And something else that you said about asking for help. I mean, this is something that is not talked about enough. I think that one of the things that I see, and I shared this with you earlier, is there's still so much internalized guilt and shame if our business doesn't look the way that we hoped it would look, or if we think that it should look different, or we think that it should be further along than it looks, and we think everyone else has it figured out, but ours isn't. So we must be doing something wrong. And it's just not true. And I think that the message that you're bringing forward about ask for help, join a community, don't do it all on your own, I think that is probably one of the most important pieces for us to all come together and really see our industry come out and through and really start thriving.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And like you said, it's comes down to each individual how they feel about it and what and where they're at in their journey. But yeah, collaboration and connection and cooperation are so key. And I think one of the other C words that comes to mind is some people get scared off on the idea of competition within the wellness industry. I'm a member of quite a few women's groups or business groups, and everyone's got a different. If you're a plumber and you're a house cleaner, you're not going to feel like you have competition clause. And in the wellness industry, it seems a little bit harder to breach that because, well, we've all got a modality we want to help with that. We want to help that person with, right? But it doesn't have to be that way because really, when we're authentic and we offer our gifts from where we are, we need to trust in that we are attracting the right person to work with us. And I think that's one of the things I really like about the directory is because someone can type in, I want a hypnotherapist, and they can see who's on there. They can compare the profiles. They can talk to each one of them if they want to. And really, who's going to be the winner? It's going to be the person they resonate with, right? So it's not like just looking in the phone book or, that kind of thing. So, that's another thing I think we need to get past is more the collaboration. There is no competition. It's all about support and connection and supporting each other.
Absolutely. This is actually something that's come up in several of these podcast conversations that I've had. And I guess for some reason I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but it's one of those things where if we are so focused on who we be, how we show up, the work that we do, focused on the people that we're here to serve, and becoming really masterful at our pocket, at our area, become the go-to person for the thing that we do, the magnetism that that will create, A, not only with the people and the clients coming to you, but B, the way that then we can all coexist when we have that confidence from knowing that crystal clear clarity, like this is what I do. This is the way I work with people. These are my people. My people know that I'm for them and I know that they're for me. And like, this is my sweet spot. And if we can really own our space, part of what that allows, getting that clarity is that confidence that owning that space, that magnetism. And then I think part of what you're saying is decreasing that competition of thinking that we're all competing. The way that I see it, looking at it as a business strategist, is because people aren't nailing their business foundations, they're not getting that clarity that allows them to own their space and just be super authentic about what they do and who their people are. And then they might think, well, it's because we're all competing with each other. When really, I think that we just have a little more work to do in nailing our side of it and really owning our own individual spaces so that then we can see like it's not really competition if we just become masterful at the thing that we do and then know our people inside and out, then we're all coexisting really beautifully.
Yeah. And I think part of that is the challenge of if it's modality based instead of, this is the person I want to serve, I want to help. And then you can, there is no competition there. It's the way you present your gifts and the way you serve with your gifts that becomes your niche, right? And no one else is like you. No one else has the same training. No one else had the same experiences. We're all unique in that. So really what we offer is unique in itself.
Absolutely. So well said. What's the cost if this doesn't happen, if you're not able to get your personal work and also the directory to the next phase that you want it to be? What's the cost to you, to the people that you're here to serve, to the world?
Well, I think I will have lost like 10 years of my life dreaming about something that I never even tried to make happen, right? Wherever it ends up, I know that I've set the wheels in motion and I'm willing to take this one step at a time and go along for the ride. But I do have a vision, right? And I do want to see it come true. I think people are ready for this. I think people are ready for face-to-face reconnection, for community to wellness community in each city to come together and to build something together. I have a lot of faith and feeling that it's time. Yes, I have a lot invested, in my time and my dream and my efforts and what I want to see this become. But I'm also pretty open to knowing that if I take what I've got to offer and I put it out there, that it's going to evolve the way it's supposed to. I see it as a very valuable tool. It can start small around the cities, locally. It could expand to anywhere in the world. I I think it's more a matter of just staying on track and doing it because my heart feels called to it and because I feel my experience gives me the strength and the foundation to do that. My heart, I feel like this is something I want to grow. So yes, I'll be disappointed if it doesn't transpire, but I also know that it's seen a lot of evolution already since when I decided to actually step forward with it. So I'm pretty confident that now's the time for me to pursue this and to follow through. I think it will make a change in so many people's lives, right? It's going to increase visibility, credibility for the industry as well as for the practitioners who come forward. It's going to help us like increase the credibility for the industry. I think that's so needed. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just willing to kind of take each step as it comes forward and hope hope for the dream to manifest.
Arlana, thank you so much for joining me today to have this conversation. And for those of you who are listening, if any part of this resonated, you're in the right place. Please reach out. I want to hear from you. And if you want to reach Arlana directly, the links to her personal website and to the We Wellness Holistic Business Directory are both in the show notes. Thank you again, Arlana, and to everyone else. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you for the next episode of Ren Behind the Practice.